What is up, guys? It is your boy Tisful, and today I just want to do like a quick little guide build on Lash. Lash is one of my favorite characters in the game, and I think he's a super strong character as well. So I wanted to go over him a little bit because I see a lot of people playing him wrong. Because if you hover over Lash's like creator or like I guess icon here, it says initiator, high flying, and arrogant. Arrogant's just telling what he is, because if you click on his thing, Jacob Lash is an asshole. But anyways, let's talk about Lash. How should you be playing him? What should you be doing with him? Now, a lot of people get this misconception that he's like this frontliner, get in the face type deal, but he's not. He's not. He's an initiator. Initiator, what they do is they start the fight. They come in with like a big wave of damage, and then they let their teammates do most of the work. For example, you'll be getting a lot of assists over kills with Lash instead of actually getting a lot of kills with him. That makes sense. So like you can go a game where you'll have 6 kills but like 20 30 assists. I've had games like that quite a bit. Throw some screenshots on the display here. So with Lash, what should you be doing? Now, I know it says initiator and it says you should be starting the fights, and that kind of depends on the team comp. If you have another initiator on the team, in my suggestion, you should be playing what I like to call the cleanup crew. Cleanup crew comes in and gets all the enemies that are super weak and finishes them off, or brings them back into the fight when they try to escape. Because if you didn't know, one of Lash's main abilities here, and I have cooldowns off right now, so his main ability is his ult. His ult allows you to displace enemies. So if my team, let's say my team's standing over here fighting, they're about to get away, I would use my teammate to fly in, get some air, and I'd grab them and throw them back to make sure we can still fight them and continuously fight them to make sure we get the kills, especially if it's a winning fight. You do not want to let them get away. Also, in the beginning, early stages, play defensive with Lash. You have the best ult when it comes to defending any objective, whether it's spawn, it's a walker, or a guardian. So make sure you're playing your life with Lash. Make sure you're staying alive, and make sure you're in position to be able to have a huge ult that could save people. Now, the misconception with the huge ult thing is not getting 4 or 5 people. If you get 1 or 2 people and get the rest of them to back off, that is huge. So like if they're pushing this walker here, or this guardian, they're pushing this guardian and there's 3 or 4 of them. If I can get 2, throw them into the guardian and the guardian kills them and you kill them, that is better than trying to get all 4. You throw them in there, they kill you and they get out. So if you can get 1 or 2, that's huge. And pay attention to who you're ulting. If you're ulting somebody like Dynamo and you dive into him, he might reverse ult you. Pay attention to his ults. You guys that know, those little eye icons underneath all the players are ult indicators. If the eye is up like this right now, that means their ult is available. Now, if I pop my ult, it might not show it. Yeah, it's because I have it on instant. But if I pop my ult, it'll show the cooldown, and they don't have ult. So pay attention to that, because if you ult somebody and they reverse ult you, it could be bad. Lady Geist is kind of scary. If you dive into Lady Geist and she just snags your health. Dynamo's kind of scary, and pretty much anybody who has like an ult that can reverse your ult. So just think about that. Now, another thing with Lash, you want to be in the air as much as possible going into fights, because if you didn't know, Lash's ground strike builds up more damage the higher you are. So for example, if I stomp right here, 70 damage across the board, right? But if I come up here and then I dive in, what's that? 191. So I basically more than doubled my damage. So you always want to get in positions where you can get height and then dive onto the team and do damage that way. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting it. I mean, it's okay to, like, if you're, if I'm sitting here fighting this guy and then I hit this and he's about to die and I hit this, that's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. You have to use it. But if you are coming into a fight, say your teammates already started a fight, you should be in the air as high as possible. Find the weakest but also safest person to attack and dive into them with your ground strike. Otherwise, you're not going to get as much out of it as you could initially coming into the fight. Now, another thing with Lash is is it flog? I don't know. I call it the whip. His whip is going to be your main tool for already being in the fight. So if your ground strike is for attacking, your whip is for being in the fight. And one of the best things you can get with this whip, especially in that early to mid game, is Quicksilver. So if you don't know, when you use Quicksilver, so I'm gonna show you. So I'm shooting. I whip. I still at 5 ammo. But if you use Quicksilver on this, let me put it on. If I use Quicksilver and I whip, I can keep shooting. So it just lets you stay in the fight for as long as possible. And my suggestion, especially in the laning phase, the earliest phase of the game, as soon as you come off, you get enough money, get monster realms to keep the wave pushed back, and then get Quicksilver right after. So monster realm, then Quicksilver. That is my suggestion when coming off the zip to lane. All right. So with Lash, you want to get monster rounds and Quicksilver. Also, I'll be putting this build specifically in the comments and in the description of the video. It'll be a pinned comment and description. If I forget, please remind me, but I hope I don't. So let's talk about his actual build and why I'm kind of putting this together. So first of all, let's start with his abilities. What I normally do is I'll upgrade this once. This is the order I normally go. The suggestions might be a little different, but because I've kind of changed it up, I'll try to remember to switch it. But in case I don't, I go whip 1, ground slam 1, whip, and then, okay, right here, this is where you make the decision. If you're kind of kicking ass, get the whip again. If you're not, get this. Why? You're probably asking, why would you jump to that? Well, your max throwing distance increases by a lot, which allows you to throw the enemies into objectives a lot easier. So it's more of a defensive pick than it is an offensive pick, if that makes sense. But for now, we're gonna say it's a perfect game. We're gonna get whip again, then we're gonna get ground slam, then we're gonna get ult. Then this is another thing. This is another decision you're gonna be making throughout the game. If your team is kind of playing defensive more than offensive, get death slam, max out your death slam right away.
Stop anyone.
If your team, sorry, let me go back one. After you get this, get that once because the cooldown helps so much, and then the second pick that'll be your last pick. Will be the second grapple. But from this point on, you're gonna decide, okay, are we playing more offensive? If you're playing more offensive, go with your ground slam, max out your ground strike. If you're playing more defensive, say you're getting your butts whooped, they're pushing your walkers, they're pushing your base, go for your death slam because this will help with a lot, because what happens is your death slam now will give a quick stun, allowing your teammates to put a little extra damage on them. And even though the ground slam will put out more damage, maybe guaranteeing more damage, the maxed out death slam has a little bit more of a chance of guaranteeing the kill, especially if you throw them underneath a walker, because the walker will naturally stun them after, so you almost got a double stun happening. So this is, like I said, this is gonna be your decision to make. But anyways, for me, I like to get death slam a lot maxed out first, just because I'd rather be defensive and then come back and then be more offensive with the maxed out ground strike. But that's just me. It's always situational. Like I said, if you're at a moment in the game where you're playing more defensive than offensive, play death slam maxed out first. If you're playing more offensive than defensive, play ground strike first. And then this will be how the total looks, because you can't max out everything. It caps you out at something like this. You'll always be missing one, and you'll always be missing one ability maxed out. So this is what it's going to look like when you're in the game and you're towards the end of the match. With Lash, you want to make sure you're keeping up with farming. If you're not keeping up with farming and you get behind, you start not to do a lot of damage for 2 reasons. His gun isn't very good if it's not, naturally built up from keeping up with players, and you're not going to be putting a lot towards your gun, so you want to keep up in a way. And if you get behind, then your ult is not as strong, and your ult is one of the best game swinging abilities overall. From him and from his ult and Dynamo, they have the best game swinging ult So you want to make sure you're keeping up, so your ult is more effective too, and your death slam and all that stuff. So you can put out a lot of damage. All right, so let's talk about the build now. So I took Deathy's build and made it more my own. Deathy's build was a lot more simple and very, 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 very focused on the whip. And I get it, the whip is very good. So lately, what I've been running is, this is naturally what's gonna look like. I'm gonna show you like kind of what the mid game is gonna look like, right? So my mid game is gonna look something like this, like halfway through mid game, I guess. Like almost, you're getting close to the late game, but you're not quite there. This is what's gonna look like. I especially get cooldowns, because your cooldowns make it so you can whip a lot more. Oh, let me show you. So it's at an 8 second, basically 9 seconds. So now you can whip a lot faster, which helps a lot. And then you can also ground slam a lot faster. So it helps with staying in the fight longer and putting out tremendous damage. So make sure you're kind of fast tracking, at least get the superior cooldown. Make sure you're fast tracking that. You can wait off the other cooldown, the transcendent cooldown, for a while, but make sure you're pushing for superior cooldown as fast as possible. Now don't overbuy though. Don't skip a bunch of things to get it. Make sure you're getting Quicksilver, you're getting monster rounds. If you're playing a lot of gun characters that are gun focused, like Haze and Furnace, McGinnis, all those characters who do a lot of damage with their gun, like their main damage outputs their gun, get Suppressor, because Suppressor will slow down their fire rate every time you hit them with a whip or a slam, and it's really, really good in that sense. Especially because Lash's gun itself doesn't do that much damage, so being able to keep pressure on them by making their fire rate suck is nice. On top of that, we have some counter picks here. So obviously these two are simple. If they're playing against a bullet main M1 damage character, you're going to be getting bullet resilience. If you're getting your ass kicked, don't get it if you're doing fine. If you're keeping up, if you're not dying very often, don't get it. It's not really worth it. And vice versa, if you're playing a spirit damage character and they're kicking your ass, get spirit resilient. But like, once again, don't need to get it unless you're getting your ass kicked. Counterspell is really good for stun characters who have stun locks. The counterspell allows you to, not get stunned by stuff like Abrams and all that stuff, as long as you time it right. And then Healbane is for characters that have a lot of healing and they're keeping up with their healing. So if you're playing McGinnis, Dynamo, any character that can self-heal a lot, you want to get Healbane. Then for this upgrade you're probably seeing here, you can skip this until late game. This is a late game upgrade. You want to get this sooner than later. So for example, you're going to want to get extra charge quick as well. So for early game, if you're buying from here, this will be your early game buys. This will be the last thing you kind of buy. I try to rush buy it if we're doing really well. If I'm not doing well, I will get stuff to help me stay alive, which is extra charge and suppressor, because it depends on the characters, of course. But extra charge is really nice because then it gives you, as you can see down here, it gives you two grapples instead of one, which allows you to get away very fast. So you can also use one grapple to dive in and then one grapple to get out. It's not as quick because I have some cooldowns on, but that's a good example on how to use it. Okay, so now that we're in the mid game, the silence wave is good, not necessary but very good. How I like to use it, if I do have it on, I'm not always running it. It depends on the characters I'm playing. After I ult them and I dive onto them, I'll press it right away and get as many people with it as possible, because it makes it, a bitch for them to get out and to counter you. Make sure you're getting extra stamina, and make sure you're getting stamina master. That will help you stay in the air a lot more. And then make sure you're getting rapid recharge. Last thing, this used to be optional, but for me, this has been a mainstay. And after testing it for a while, this has been a mainstay in my build. It's a Spirit Lifesteal. So as you know, or you should know, his whip already gives him health. So with this Lifesteal, you're getting even more health than you would normally, allowing you to stay in the fight a lot longer. Sorry, I had a cough there. And then the Leech, once you get Leech, you get both Bullet Steal and you get your whip and you get your Stomp Suit. Especially if you're way high in the air and you come... I don't have cooldowns on. So if you're way, oh my god, do I not have cooldowns on? Okay. So if you're way high in the air, right, and I come down, I can get, look at that, I get a good chunk of health back right away, allowing me to stay in fights longer and allowing me to come back into fights if my teammates decide, hey, we're committing to this and I need to commit to this as well because it is a good fight for us, but I'm the low health. I can get back into it with doing more damage. And with this, you can kind of wait on leech. It depends. If you feel like you're getting your ass cooked and you need something to be able to sustain longer, leech is good for you. You should get that. If you feel like you're doing fine, you're staying alive, you're getting away, don't grab it yet. Wait until later in the game. Wait until you start pushing deep into their base. Wait until you're pushing walkers heavy. It depends on how the game's going. So like I said, I would wait on this, but it's really, really good. I haven't used this much, so I can't say how well it is on Lash or not. I would have to test it. I think this is better overall, so at the moment, so because it also gives you that, I think because it gives you that bonus damage and spirit power, it's overall more beneficial for Lash, so I'd stick with that. So out of the luxury items, for me, I've been getting Spirit Burn, of course. I've been getting Refresher, Lightning, and then once I have the money, I will sell. Oh wait, I will sell Cultist, and then this is normally down here how my endgame build is looking. It also depends because Refresher on his ult is super strong. I think it's just as strong, if not more strong, than Dynamo ult with Refresher. Because I'm gonna give you two scenarios. All right, let's say I'm gonna throw them on screen too after, just to hopefully have a visual of it. But all right, let's say I'm pushing their base, right? I'm pushing their base. I can ult them away. I'm probably gonna kill some of these guys. I can ult them away, and then I can ult them farther while my teammates are stealing the actual, or killing the actual Patreon, right? Secondly, if they are pushing my base, right? If they're pushing my base, let's say from this point, from this point is my spawn, right? They're pushing my spawn. I can throw them in the spawn, jump them, and say, for example, if they did get out, I can ult them back into the spawn. See what I'm saying? So it's very, very good for both defensive and offensive approaches. Refresher is super good, and then of course, with Unstoppable, it just allows you to not get stopped during your ult. You basically get a free ult off. Like, people can't grab you out of the air. You can't get stunned. You can't get slept or anything like that. So it's super well. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide on Lash. I'll be live on YouTube if you stay for the whole thing, or not on YouTube. I'll be live on Twitch pretty much all the time. There's a link in the description. If this helped you in any way, please hit that like button. I will have the build in the comments, and I will have the build in the description. This was fun to make, and I think Lash is a very strong character. If I had to place him, I'd say he's an A tier character, not quite B, or not quite S tier, just because he does have a lot of counters. So you just have to learn to play around his counters. I'll throw a couple clips up. You should have seen a couple clips like showing you guys how I use his ult to basically save our ass, and it's just super, super strong. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please hit that like button, and hopefully see you guys in the Twitch chats if you guys have any questions. He is my main, and I like him a lot. I can show you guys my last couple games with him. Oh, I can't. All right. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.